Hello, UCAR. Peter Christensen here, coming to you from the new UCAR Studios. So we're set up here. We got foam surrounding me, so hopefully it sounds good. Okay, today we're going to talk about the short-term leaseback addendum. I know we've been talking about that a lot lately, but a really good question came up during the Forms Committee meeting today, and it was about what happens with when the seller doesn't leave. So the term of their lease back ends, and you're ready for them to go as the buyer, and they don't. Now, in Section 9, there's a blank in there that's a penalty. So a question came up of, why do we have that? What if you didn't put much in there? Really, are you inviting a seller to just stay at a certain daily rate? So you put $50 in there, and a seller says, well, my new place isn't ready. $50 a day is cheaper than a hotel. So yeah, I'm just going to stay an extra week, and I'll pay the $50 a day penalty. What can you do? And buyer's saying, no, I need to get out of my place. I need you to leave. But seller's saying, well, I'm now just invoking the daily rate. That's not really how it works. It's a penalty. Why do we put a penalty in there? Because if a tenant does not leave and you have to evict them, then you can get a penalty for how many days they stayed past the lease, but it's tied to the rent. Oftentimes in these so it's treble damages, right? Triple the amount of daily rent they were paying. Well, these leases, the short-term lease back, oftentimes does not really have. Oftentimes the buyer and seller don't put a lease amount in there, so they don't charge the seller. They just give them a couple weeks, a month to stay in there. And if that's the case, and you go to evict them, and you want a penalty because they stayed in there for an extra week, 10 days. What do you get as a buyer? It's hard because you're tying it to zero. So 3 times 0 is 0. And that's why we put this penalty in there. So you got to think about that if you're a buyer's agent and you're helping fill this form out. It's got to be enough to make it hurt for the seller. Otherwise, it starts to look like an option. I'll just stay for this many days and pay the penalty. But in reality, they're in breach of the lease, right? Because this really is a lease. And a buyer can proceed with the eviction process. And so you can evict the seller if they refuse to leave and charge them the penalty. And a court should enforce the penalty because it's agreed upon. And that's what it's really meant to do. It's not meant to be if you want to stay, here's the daily rate, seller, for as long as you want. It's really meant as a deterrent to say, you don't want to stay. So if I'm filling this out, I probably put a pretty hefty amount in there. Just negotiate with the seller to say, you're not going to stay past this date, right? Right. Then let's put, $200 a day, $500 a day, something that's going to motivate you to get out of there, seller, so that I don't have to worry about trying to evict you. I don't know what a great amount is, but that's how that works. So great discussion about that today. Thought I'd pass that on. Remember, this is not legal advice. This is legal information only. If you need specific legal advice, please contact your attorney. Thanks for tuning in.